One of the big upgrades to the 8A this year was 120Hz, but it doesn't come switched on by default out the box. But if you want to take full advantage of what this phone can do and make it feel like a premium device, then you need to go into your settings and switch this on. And it's really simple. Go to display and smooth display, and you can turn that on to 120Hz. And now it has the exact same refresh rate as the 8 and the 8 Pro, and it just feels that little bit more premium when using it. And it does come at the cost of a little bit of battery, but I've been using it since launch, and that small bit of battery that you lose for 120Hz is 100% worth it. Something that you can use your Pixel 8A for is a webcam, and why wouldn't you? Because it has some really good cameras, and it'll just upgrade whatever webcam you have that's sat in your laptop at the moment. And actually, it even makes my studio display webcam look awful because the Pixel 8A is much better. All you have to do is plug it in, swipe down, and select what happens when that USB is recognized. You select Android webcam inside something like Zoom or inside Google Meet, and it's that simple. You now have nice, crisp looking video using your 8A as a webcam. One of my favorite features that you have on the Pixel 8A is multiple user accounts. Now, if someone wants to use your phone, you might not want them going into photos or going onto stuff that you have that's private on your phone. So actually what you can do is you can create accounts for guests, and you can create accounts for people that regularly use your phone. This comes in really handy if you have like an annoying kid who just wants to watch YouTube all the time, but somehow every time they use your phone, they end up going into settings and completely changing the language to something you can never change it off from again. So if you put it into guest mode, they can use YouTube without messing up any of your settings. Let's move on to audio eraser, and the Pixel 8 series has a really cool feature where if you go and record a video outside and there's too much talking, too much noise, there's music that you might not want in that video, you can actually use audio eraser to just get rid of it completely. If you go to photos, find that video that you want to edit, and then just select edit and audio eraser, and it'll take a couple of seconds just to identify the sounds that are inside that video, and you get a few options to play with, so you can manually adjust this, or you can just have the auto feature work its magic, and it does a pretty decent job. It's not perfect by any means, but it's actually really nice and can just minimize any of the noise that you might not need in your videos. Let's stick with editing and talk about Magic Eraser, because I still can't get over how good this is. And if you've never used a Pixel phone before, then you might not know this even exists, but honestly, it's such a good feature. We saw this on the Pixel 8 at the end of last year, but if you've taken a photo with your Pixel and there's people in it that are ruining it, there's maybe objects in it that are ruining it, all you have to do is draw a circle around that and it will get rid of it. And a lot of the time it will also just automatically say, do you want to get rid of these items in the photo, and it will make it better. As well as that, you can use Magic Editor to change things like the sky. So if you take a photo on quite a dull day, you can use this Magic Editor to completely change the sky and make the photo just look a little bit better than it did when you actually took it. So a really cool feature that is baked straight into the Photos app. Sticking with photos, let's talk about AI wallpaper, because there's an option inside your wallpaper settings where you can create a unique-ish AI wallpaper, and it's a pretty cool feature, and sometimes you get some really nice wallpapers from it. To do this, just long press on your home screen, select wallpaper and styles, and then go to more wallpapers. And then you'll see in the top left, you have AI wallpaper as an option. And inside here, you get a couple of options that you can pick from, like presets. So things like soft focus and X-ray. And once you select that, there's a few options inside that you can change. You just hit create wallpaper, and in about less than a minute, you get something that can be really nice. And sometimes they are a bit naff, but I think on the whole, they're actually quite usable wallpapers. And if you like the idea of creating your wallpapers, but really like emojis, you can actually go into the emoji part of this and create your own emoji wallpaper. Not necessarily AI here, but it does give you a couple of options if you really like emojis. One-handed mode is really useful when you need to get to the top of that screen, but it's not turned on by default. So to do this, go into your settings and just search for one-handed mode, and then you just switch it on, and it lets you swipe down on that gestures bar at the bottom of the phone, so you can easily get to the top of the screen for things like notifications and the quick panel. The next tip to get the most out of your 8A is when you're in that camera app. So there's something that you can do called flip to selfie. If you go into gestures and turn on that setting that is flip to selfie, all you have to do is flip that phone just a little bit and it'll swap its camera to the selfie camera. Another really good one here is flip to shush. So if you ever put your phone screen flat down on a table, it will turn on do not disturb mode automatically. So it can come in really handy when you're getting a phone call. If you just search flip to shush in settings, you can turn it on and then it's just ready to go. And this does come in really handy, but just remember to not put your phone flat down on the desk by mistake, because if you do, you'll miss every single notification all day. Another feature that I use all the time is bedtime mode. I have it to come on at a specific time every single night, and annoyingly it doesn't actually enable do not disturb mode automatically, which I think is weird, so you have to do this yourself. So when inside digital well-being and bedtime mode, if you scroll down, you can actually turn on do not disturb for any time that you have bedtime mode enabled. What you can do as well here is enable the bedtime mode for any time that you plug your phone in after a certain time. Call screen is a really cool feature that you might not know about if you're new to Google Pixels. Essentially, it just allows Google Assistant to answer your call with an automated message telling that person that you're screening the call. And when the person on the other end starts talking, you'll get a transcript in real time of what's being said, and then you can pick from a few different options and prompts here to carry on the call, or you can just get them to call back later. And to turn that on, just go into your phone and go into the settings, and you can enable it just here. And depending on where you are in the world, you might see a few different options as well. Things like direct my call, because Google Assistant here can transcribe menu options for you, which means that you don't have to wait to hear like all 9 options when you actually call like a bank, for example. One more inside that phone option is hold for me as well. So if you hate being on a hold, then this will be perfect for you. It's similar to the other options, and this one uses on-device technology to recognize when someone is ready to speak. So what it'll do is it'll give you a notification when you're able to use this, and you'll then get a notification when that horrible elevated music has stopped and someone has answered, so you can go back to that call without having to just sit there listening to the elevated music for about 3 hours of your life. I think it's a really cool feature. I've used it a couple of times, and it just makes calling these companies less dreaded than it already is.